Hello. Hi, my name is Ilona Krupa. I'm from the Creative Europe Bureau. It's a European program, and it has offices in every country which takes part in the program. I will talk about it in a while, and I hope that it will be okay if I sit down. So, I wanted to sort of tell you more about the possibilities that Creative Europe gives for film production. The Creative Europe, a few words of introduction. It's a European program made in three components. The first component is support for creative culture, European projects, literary translations, support for the artists. But this component is strictly cultural. We're talking about music, about theater, film, and audiovisual sector are not a part of this because AV are in the media component, and here it's the support for the whole sector is there, but also for activities related to innovation, production and development of video games, and intersectoral component. So activities that bring together both sectors, respond to the needs of the sector of culture and the AV sector, as well as activities that support information media. The main assumptions of the program are, above all, supporting the international activities, protection of cultural diversity and language diversity, professionalization of the sector, activities that are a part of digital transformation, as well as they build economic potential of the creative sector. Apart from this, we have horizontal priorities, which means the priorities that European Commission realizes within the terms of its support programs. And here we're talking about the social inclusion, the gender equality, and actions that support the green transformation of the green transformation, the green transformation of the cultural sectors of culture. So, moving now on to the strictly audiovisual component, the media component, the main goal is the support of international cooperation, which allows for a wider distribution of works of art, of creative works, the support of authors of European works, and to increase the chances of professionalization of artists and the wider distribution. The media component and the countries which participate in this are those who are the participants of the European Union, as well as the countries which signed the right agreements with the Commission. As you see, Georgia and Ukraine participate in a limited scope in the media component, so they cannot take part in all the frameworks and submit applications. But this also is subject to change. There are also political elements of the changes when it comes to media legislation in those countries, so this also changes. If we are talking about countries, then within the media we have a division into high and low potential production potential countries. This is something that allows countries such as Poland, Croatia, and Czech Republic to submit application in the bigger number of frameworks, and this allows the works from these countries to take part in international festivals. A few weeks ago, the program was announced for the next year, for the year 2025. And this is what the frameworks are presented in the media component. You have several of them. They are divided into clusters. We, together we will focus on the content cluster because it supports the development of films and TV shows. We have also business cluster, the audience cluster. So the whole sector of support for distribution, for sales agents, for cinemas, for educational context, also in the context of workshops and activities aimed at audiovisual professionals. And now moving on to the core, to the gist, the possibilities of the opportunities you get from the schematics that provide support. They are mainly directed at supporting projects. The first one is the European co-development. So a development of a single work. It can be addressed. It can be directed towards film distribution, but also on digital platforms. That's why we have the co-development from the early stage. You're working with another company from a country which is also, so it has to be an international cooperation. Even at this early stage, you need to have a co-development contract that will define what will be the scope of engagement of both partners, and the coordinator, the one who submits the motion, because the motion is always, or the application is submitted by one of the companies, has to be experienced. There has to be a reference work. I will talk more about the reference work in a while. So, one project, distribution, both in TV and cinema and on digital platforms, depending on where it will be the first field of exploitation. We have the minimum length. If you would be planning to perform in non-linear format, then there is no, there is no requirement for the minimum length. The film about shorts. The question was about shorts. In terms of co-development, the first framework I'm talking about, there's no possibility, but it will appear. There will be next frameworks of recruitment, and there will be a short will be there. But within the frames of the first one, your European co-development, which means you have two companies, you can only do projects of full length, depending on how you look at it. You can find it in the table. And now the important things. What sort of financing can you count on? In Poland, it's a limited company, and on the other side, do you need some special form? What sort of company? What type of company? It can be a one-person business. It can be individual business. It can be public company, limited public company. I know in Germany you have different forms. I know that it doesn't translate very well into Polish types of companies. It cannot be a person who does not has a registered business. Nor something, and there has to be some sort of business academy. It cannot be a foundation nor association. It can be a foundation or association. However, the important thing is that the main scope of activity would be audiovisual production of this foundation or association. Competition documentation also defines that the applications can be submitted by an independent production company. What does it mean? The production company, i.e. the main area of activity should be the AV industry. It's independent, which means in 25 or 50% it should not belong to the broadcaster. So a company that provides the media services. I think this is how it is defined in the documentation. But it is not defined precisely. There's no a closed list of types of legal organization. So it can be a limited company. The most important thing is that the main area of activity is audiovisual production. Money. Up to 50% of the costs of activity. So activity, which means what you apply for. We're not looking for the costs that you bore in the past. In terms of amount, it depends on the number of partners. Usually, it's about if you have two partners. Let's say if we have a Polish company and a company from France, from Germany, then you can apply for 120,000 euro. If we have a third company, it is increased by another 60,000. Of course, the more money is nicer, but it's important that each of the partners would be there for a reason, and has the scope of activity from the technical point of view and artistically. If you have a TV show, the amount for support is higher, up to 80%, but it's up to 200,000 euro in case of two partners. The first tranche of financing you receive when you're signing the grant contract. It's up to 70% of the money that you applied for, that you are awarded. 70. I just want to point out that it is not included in the de minimis amount, which means you can accumulate support from peace with peace support or regional support, and it does not influence the amount of the regional support, which is limited. This is sort of a bonus, if we can call it that way. The agenda, the timetable. We have no. The competition documentation has not been announced yet, so it's still to be confirmed. But this timetable would be similar. Deadline to submit at the end of February next year. The results you have to wait for until September, signing contract in December, and it's important that the first filming day, because we're talking about the development, the support of development, the first filming day that you can have planned in the schedule can be even 10 months from the February's deadline. The whole realization of the project no more than 30 months, and 30 months we count from the moment of signing the contract. So we're thinking about the December, the end of the day. So you have to have this your perspective always have to be very concrete. You have to have a plan well ahead. 30 months at most. It is possible to prolong. Many things can happen on the way, as you know. If you sign a contract, you need to get an approval, just as in the case of a grant. It is possible to amend the contract, but you can get your deadline, absolute deadline is 30 months. Now we move to two more frameworks. Are we talking about the packages of projects? Slate development means slate development. The project packages are for cinematic, the TV and digital platform distribution with the potentially wide international distribution. The goal here is to support the producers and their independence, because here the application is submitted by a single company. So we do not need to have a formalized partner at this stage of submitting the application. We're talking about European cooperations, because the plan for cooperation and potential of international cooperation is important, but formally the application is submitted by one company. And here, to a package, you can add a short work. What do you mean? What does it mean to add to the package? The package looks like this. We have 3 to 5 projects. In the smaller one, we have 2 to 3. And additionally, as a potential 6th one or the 4th one, you can add a short whose author is a new talent, is a rising talent. If there is no limit in terms of age, we're talking about the experience. It is a director who did not make that sort of work yet. So a TV series which was in distribution and had so many minutes. So a director who did not realize this sort of work could have been promoted within applied for in terms of slate. So we have a bigger and smaller package of projects. And here, this is the first example of division of projects with high and low production capability. Mini slate is open, but it can be. It is not open. It can be applied for only by countries with low production potential. So Poland, for example, it's good because you're not competing against France, Germany, and France. France, Germany, and Spain, which eat up most of that cake. So here the reference, also the earlier experience in case of slate, you need to have 2 reference works, and in terms of mini slate, you need to have 1 reference work. The reference work is a film or a TV show realized before, regardless of the form of the distribution form. The important thing is that it was made no earlier than 2018 and had distribution in 3 countries other than the country of origin of our applicant. So Poland in our case. And that distribution must have been completed by the date of submitting an application. In terms of financing, up to 70% of the total budget, and every sort of film, regardless of what you have in your package, it has a certain amount ascribed to it. So mini slate is between 60 and 310,000 euro of support, and the bigger package between 90 up to 510,000 euro. And a short film, another important thing. These 2 movies are the support for development, but an exception is a short. If this financing, if you have a short in your package, the support is for the development and for production. The first filming day can be made already during the preparation of the project.
Harmonogram. Slate mamy już otwarty na początku października.
The deadline is 5th of December this year, and the results in May. And similarly, the contract and the first shooting day 10 months after the deadline of the applications. Here we were counting again from the moment of signing the contract. And one more exception: the beginning of the performance of the product, of the preparation of the project. It is important from the point of view of the cost that you can qualify for this. You can apply for the beginning of the performance of the project will be before the signing of the contract. This has to be agreed for by the Commission, but it cannot be earlier than the date of submitting the application. And mini-slate, and here we do not have any confirmed dates or deadlines. And exactly the same rules: 10 months, 36 months of project duration. And another important thing, some projects cannot be submitted, like projects which are typically promotional, features about animals, touristic projects, guides, commercials. Such projects are cannot be a part of the package. And slate development and European co-development. So now, TV online content. It's a framework with support production. It can be submitted by an individual applicant. It can be for a TV show or a movie. It can be a co-production. But the important thing is that it is a project that will be directed to film distribution or on digital platforms. And even at the stage of the motion of the application, you have to have a broadcaster engaged, because it has to be a TV or a streamer or a broadcasting platform or a digital platform. You have to have two broadcasters, one from Poland plus another broadcaster from another country, who also is important in the media framework. Also, the participation of authors is very important. Like 50% of a very typical table, we have a scriptwriter, a director, the post-production, actors. In case of animation, there is a discernment depending on the type of the movie. What sort of authors are we talking about in case of engaging professionals? Another thing is the question of the budget. You also need to have money coming from national media. So you cannot have the majority of your budget from, let's say, a US broadcaster. When it comes to the types, it's also similar. We can do everything except for the shorts. Both features, like works of fiction and documentaries. And there's a catalog of projects which do not qualify. And here about two things. The two final points do not qualify. Projects which have cinematic distribution already. So if you attach a letter of intent, which will show that this is the intention, and the projects which received support within the frames of Council of Europe Eurimage fund. But here we're talking about the standard Eurimage, not about the new pilot project for support for TV shows. I don't know if you know this topic or not. When it comes to the amount of support, you can see here a higher amount we were talking about production. These amounts are higher, but their percentage share in the budget is unfortunately lower, up to 20% of the total cost of projects. And of course, this the support is dependent on the budget of the project, like the feature projects, the works of fiction. What's also very important in TV Online, we have two deadlines. The first window is already open. This one will end in December. The other one ends in May. The timetable is pretty similar. You will need to wait for a few months to get accepted, then a few months more to sign a contract, and the first filming day, the first shooting day, we're talking about the start of production, but it cannot be earlier than at the day of application, and the time of duration of the project, 36 months. The last framework of our content cluster, which I would just give you a short overview of. If you are trying to work on an immersive project, you have support for development, like video games, for example, what is being submitted by beneficiaries. But you can also apply for the support of immersive projects. For the development, so until the moment of the preparation of prototype, 50,000 euro, and it's up to 60% of your budget. The requirement in case of video games and immersive projects is the storytelling. So there has to be a story going throughout the game, and throughout it cannot be a piece of a story. Can it be an artistic narrative installation? Yes. These are. You will not get a clear answer for that. But the important thing is that you have to, and this is a difficult thing, but you need to have in the application the idea for the distribution, for some commercial distribution. So you cannot just have experience which will be in a museum within the frames of some sort of exhibition or some sort of event. And selling online, would it work? Probably yes. So if somebody was sort of experiencing a story on Oculus Rift goggles, yes, this distribution has to be somehow already developed in your mind in a way. So just to finish before questions that you might have, something that you probably know, a big number of training seminars is supported by Creative Europe and workshops, and this is a bonus for you, because the majority of them, due to the fact that they got support from Creative Europe, have to provide you with the lower fees or maybe grants for people from lower production potential, like including Poland. Please also provide stipends for this, because I really recommend that to you, because this is a very wide scope in terms of topics, in terms of genre, and the workshops which are being made remotely. They are annual. We have a very broad scope of topics, and as I said, they are usually obliged to provide lower fees or grants for members from Poland. If you have any questions, I would like to invite you to contact by email or by phone, but if you have a question right now, please feel free to ask them. Apart from myself, within the frame of the component media, I have Marta Modzelewska,
też na naszej stronie są...
Also on our website you can see you'll get direct contacts to us. So if you need that, if you have any questions, this is the hottest time for us because we open the so it's also a hot time for you in terms of preparing the applications. If there are no questions, I would like to thank you. And is this available? This presentation is available somewhere? No, it's not. But all this information is on our website. And as I said, if you have any questions, I would like to invite you to contact us. It's in a very shortened form because each of those frameworks is a certain guideline which is about 20 pages long. So in the presentation it's a bit accumulated and shortened. So we always say that we'll send that for people to sort of get acquainted with the documentation. And it's also described in a very friendly way on our website, apart from the documentation, which is also available. So thank you very much.